Okay, so welcome to All Things Apple, and I'm going to turn it over to Kurt to start the discussion.
Thank you, Brookie. Um, First thing I want to ask, is there a full moon? I'm I'm kidding. Can you see my screen?
We
Yeah.
can,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Let me show you something. I want to talk real quickly with you about the newsletter, the CKCS newsletter. Here's the website. If you've never been there, it's ckcs.org is the website you want to go to see all the stuff. And they've redesigned it, and they really did a good job with it. If you want to look at the newsletter, there are now two different versions. You go to the website, you click on news, and there's the PDF version, which we've had for years. Let me click on that. That's what it looks like. And you can scroll down hitting your space bar on a PC or a Mac, or you can, if you're on an iPhone or an iPad or an Android phone, you scroll down with your fingers. And also on the Mac or the PC, you can use your arrows, your down arrows on your keyboard to go down. To go back up, scroll up using the arrow. That's one way to do it. You can also use your mouse, a trackpad, a trackball, all those different ways. But this is the PDF version that we've had for years. And if you go back to the website, underneath it is the flipbook version, which is new. Here's what it looks like on screen. You can make it bigger. It's a little bit different, obviously. You have this bar on the bottom where you can actually scroll, and you can also scroll with your finger with this on a device. There's also this arrow over here. If you want to, it looks like a book. That's why they call it a flip book. If you click on that, you get the actual book, 2 pages. And of course, all of these links are hot. You can go to any of these links by clicking on them, and you want to go to the next page. Click on the arrow again. A lot of people prefer this, but not everybody. There are some issues with a flip book that a lot of people are aware about. One of the things is you can't print from it. You can print if you take a screenshot of something, but it doesn't print in the typical manner. This little arrow down here, if you're the type of person, if you don't like to use this, you can use the right arrow on the bottom of your Mac or your PC and click on it. And also there's a sound. I can't reach it right now because it's covered by my Zoom. So let me push my browser over. You can turn that off. There's a little, you probably can't hear it, but to me, it sounds like somebody eating crackers. But you're flipping a page, and if you want to turn that off, if that bothers you or somebody's sleeping near you, whatever, click here and it will silence it. There's also this to increase. On a PC, you hold down the control key, hit your plus key in the upper right-hand corner of your keyboard, and you will zoom in. On a Mac, you hold down the command key, same thing, hit the plus key on the upper right, and it should zoom in. Well, I'm at the maximum. I'm at 200%, I guess. So, but if you want to go in, no, I'm not. That's even closer. You can use this to go in. The minus means you want to go out. But anyway, and you can also, if you want to get to the back of the newsletter real quickly, the end of it, scroll over, and you're there. Also, we've added something that a lot of people have mentioned they like. There's a link on the pages down here that says what's inside. When you have a newsletter of this size, you want to go back to the table of contents, and there's no way to get back there. So we put a link in here, and you can click on it. Takes you back to the beginning of the table of contents, what's inside. So, but this happens to be the flip book version. You can also, like I call it the gutter, like in bowling, you can just drag this across and you see thumbnails of what's there. And if you stop, it'll take you to those pages. So it's a totally different look, totally different way of creating a newsletter. But a lot of people have said they like it. If you like the PDF version, continue reading it. Also, if you really like this, share it with somebody else. Share it with somebody else. Just tell them to go to ckcs.org click on one of the links, the PDF or the Flashbook version, and they can read it free. There's no password or anything like that to protect them from going in. So anyway, that's it. The two different versions of the newsletter. If you go to ckcs.org, that's where you can get them. And a lot of people read this thing. We have readers in Sweden, which I thought was kind of interesting because I don't speak Swedish. But apparently they read English or have a translator or something, translation website they use. So anyway, there's that. Do you want me to go on to Chat GPT real quickly?
Yes, go ahead with that.
Okay. There are a lot of ways to use Chat GPT. Apple calls it Apple Intelligence. They're using that brand of intelligence to on their Macs, on their iPhones, and on the iPad. There's another way you can download an app. You don't have to use the built-in system. You can download the app. You can also go to chatgpt.com, and there's a website. I use it all the time now. For example, this is what it looks like on Windows and Mac and iPad and iPhone. It looks like a little icon. You click on it or tap on it with your finger and I'm going to ask a question. Here's what I've asked before. I was streaming a show from France, and they had to go to Morocco for something. And I said, well, what do they speak in Morocco? What languages? So I asked down here in the little bar, I asked Chat GPT, and they came back with the answer, which surprised me. Arabic, Brookie might know these. I don't know some of these. Barber. This was an education government thing that they were going to in this TV show. They spoke French. They also speak Spanish and they speak English. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Down here, I'm going to ask a question. It'll also read it to you. And you can also use your mic to ask questions, kind of like Siri. But I'm going to type one here real quickly. And it's pretty fast. As of 11:54 p.m., I don't know, Eastern European time, the temperature in Helsinki is 26 degrees Fahrenheit. It's 11 here. Does anybody see anything wrong with that? But you can use this for all kinds of things, Chat GPT. And we're just beginning with it. Real quickly, let me close the app. Let me go to the website. Let me play just the beginning of this real quick.
ChatGPT is one of the fastest growing platforms and technologies of all time. And I wanted to show you exactly what it is and exactly how to use it in this video. Now, if you ask ChatGPT what it is, it's going to tell you that it's an artificial intelligence powered chatbot. What does that mean exactly? Well, it's a chatbot, just like a text messaging platform, where you could ask a question and it would respond in chat format. But unlike Google, it actually doesn't have current access to the internet. It's not searching the web and delivering a result. It's using AI or artificial intelligence to actually create an original response to your question. Now,
okay, there's that one. So here's another one real quickly to give you an idea of what it is.
Artificial intelligence, or AI, is no longer science fiction. It's here and it's changing the world. From self-driving cars to personalized medicine, AI is revolutionizing industries. You might not realize it, but you're already interacting with AI every day. Have you ever used a virtual assistant like Siri or Alexa, or received a personalized recommendation on Netflix? That's AI at work. The world is on the cusp of an AI revolution. We're witnessing the dawn of a new era, one where machines can learn and solve problems. This revolution is for everyone. Understanding AI is crucial. It's about harnessing the power of this transformative technology.
Okay, there's that, what they mentioned about that. And basically it's coming to everything. It'll probably be in gas pumps soon, I'm assuming. But Apple has integrated it into all of their platforms, and it's voice friendly. It doesn't want to work with this because I'm on Zoom, but you can ask questions that you typically can't ask Google, which I think is pretty neat. And I've for years have used DuckDuckGo as my main search engine, and now I've replaced it with Chat GPT. I either go to the website chatgpt.com and ask a question, or I just open up the app and type, or I already have it open and I type a question in here. And it's real useful. For example, how many dogs, domestic dogs, are there in Kentucky? Everybody wants to know the answer to that, right? And it's thinking, and it's not using the internet, it's using its own. Determining the exact number of domestic dogs in Kentucky requires combining household ownership percentages with the state's total number of households. According to the American Veterinary Medical Association, 46.5% of Kentucky households own at least one dog, with an average of 1.9 dogs per dog owning household. I don't know what that means, how you get that, but anyway. So they tell you how they do it. There are probably 1.5 million domestic dogs in Kentucky. And you can ask it anything. And it's not using the internet, it's using Open AI, which owns ChatGPT, using their computers. One downside to this is that it uses a lot of electricity, and they're going to have to find some kind of solution for this in the future, because all of us will be using this, machines will be using this, microwave ovens will probably be using this, and there's not enough electricity currently generated to power all of this. So anyway, any questions?
Kurt,
Yes.
it's Bev. Does that mean that your battery life is going to go down? I mean, it's going to use that much from our computers? Is that what you're saying too? I know what you mean by electricity, but is that going to be detrimental to my computer battery?
I don't think so. From what I've read, it's not internal, it's external. It's going to use a lot more power when it goes out and seeks the answer in real time, real quickly. So I don't think it's going to take that much power using the computer or an iPad or whatever. It's going to use a lot more power resources to come up with the answers. And it is going to take more memory. That's like when Apple came out with their new Mac Mini. They put in 16 megabytes of memory rather than 8 as the default. That's the minimum. And the new iPads that are coming out are going to have increased memory at a base level to handle all this stuff. So, but it really is a new world. I mean, it's kind of like, for me, I'm old enough. When I was a little kid, I remember the phone guy came in and I said, "Hey, Mom, what's the phone guy doing here?" And he said, "We're switching to tone." And I said, "What?" He said, "You're moving from pulse to tone, touch tone." I said, "You mean like on those radio shows where you can win a T-shirt if you're the 16th caller?" And he looked at me kind of strangely and said, "Yeah."
So Kurt, this is would
Did
this
I
be
answer your question? Go ahead, Joe.
this would be comparable to Microsoft Copilot?
Similar. They're competitors. Exactly.
And I
And
think we need to talk about the reliability or the accuracy.
Oh,
yes,
absolutely.
do you want to
Whatever they
put your-
have, you need to take it with a grain of salt.
Well, like with Google, I think this is much more reliable, in my opinion, than social media. I wouldn't trust social media as far as I could throw it, and that's just me. You know what I mean? Social media apps, Facebook, and the rest. If you see stuff on there, no matter what it is, I generally don't believe it. I'm a cynic. But I think this is a lot more. If you get something on here that's critical, you want to double check it. You want to use maybe Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo, use another search engine, and maybe call up a professional in that category, especially when it comes to medical stuff. If you're asking questions of an AI like Apple Intelligence or Copilot, questions about medical issues, you want to double check that with your doctor, practitioner, and somebody else, telehealth or whatever, to make sure it's accurate.
Yeah, I
But this
think
is just the beginning of what we're getting into, which makes it kind of exciting. We're on the cusp of, it's kind of like when the airplane came out, elevators first. It's a new thing.
Every time I try
Yeah.
to use it, I haven't tried it too many times. It's trying to sell me a subscription, and I never get to the Chat GPT. I'm not sure I
Yeah.
want to buy a year subscription right off.
No, there is a free version which I use. There is an expensive subscription version. I think it's 200, maybe it's 20. There are levels. Maybe there's a $20 per month. I'm not going to pay that. And then there's a higher level, a more expensive one. No, I just use the free version. You do have to give them an email address, and you do have to come up with a password
Okay.
but you log on the first time you ever use it, you go to their website and you log on and create an account, just like anything else. And then from then on, it's all free.
John,
you
are
know.
you using your PC?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll be using actually Copilot with Microsoft probably.
I've got Copilot too.
Okay, so
I
you're
work,
using both of them or trying
I
to use
work
both.
well, Copilot's automatically loaded on my
Yeah.
new laptop, but it's easier for me, but I've failed at getting into Chat GPT, so
Okay.
Don't get frustrated, because it's once you get in there, it's neat.
okay.
I haven't heard that. I didn't face that stuff. I've never seen any ads. Of course, I use an ad blocker in a browser, so maybe that's the
Okay.
difference. But I've never seen any of that stuff. I just said, "Oh, I want to see what this is about." And you can, of course, also use it in an Apple product. They embed it like Copilot into the system. You don't have to use any of this if you don't want to, but it's kind of neat, you know.
What does GPT stand for?
I was afraid you're going to ask that, Bev. I don't know. I can, well, let me ask. Generative pre-trained transformer. Oh my gosh.
Good to know.
So
Okay.
when you're on Jeopardy, you'll have that answer because of Chat GPT. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. If you will quit
Oh,
sharing your
yes.
screen, we will move on to Joe Dietz. Joe?
Yes, I'm thinking. Okay, we're going to do a couple of things tonight. One is going to be talking about Apple AI with your Apple devices and their rewrite function. And the other one is I wanted to chat a little bit about the photo app, because when iOS 18 came out, they made a lot of changes to it. So I'm going to start off with that, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Yay. Many of you are familiar with computers and devices like this, and it's interesting. Brookie and I'll go through this month, and next month we'll sit down to get prepared for the meeting, and three different things have changed. And so we're always struggling with it. So sometimes you just got to bear with us a little bit. First thing I want to do is go to my photos. I'll open my photos, and when I do, this will be the screen that will come up at the first, when previously it was albums showing on your screen, and the first one was called recents. And anyway, this is now your recents, the photos you've taken recently. These are the last few that I've taken, and it goes all the way up to the end of the series. A couple other things that I added here, excuse me, is recent photos taken today, Saturday and Sunday, Thursday, whatever. You can go and look at those. And then down here is where they've formatted the albums. You can see there's some albums here, and I can swipe to the right. And this one had me really confused for a while, because as I was looking for this, I realized all my albums weren't there. So if you're using this, just remember, in order to see all of them, you're going to have to tap on the caret arrow here. And once you do that, you'll get a listing of all your albums. So keeping going on down, you can see here people and pets part. This is similar to what was there before, just a matter of going in and finding a picture of somebody and identifying them, and then putting a name to them. And then once you do that and you're in this app, I'm going to do this. Sorry, Brookie. I'm going to tap on Brookie.
Okay.
And here's pictures that are in my phone about Brookie. So it's kind of a neat app if you want to find somebody in particular or a pet. Next down is your pin collections. And this is just reformatted a little bit, but it's your favorites, recently saved, your maps, screenshots, so forth. Next is trips, places I've been, and the pictures that are involved with those. And then moving on down, we go back into the memories. Some of you, I'm sure, have seen this before, or most of you have seen it before. And we've had some sessions on how to create a memory. Next is utilities, favorites, hidden, recently deleted. It's kind of redundant because that was up front. Next thing is albums that you have shared. This is really, if you're not familiar with this, it's really a nice function. I go on a trip and take a bunch of pictures, and I want to share 10 of them with somebody. I can share an album with those 10 pictures in it. They get to look at the pictures, and they can't see anything else but just those pictures. That's kind of neat. And wallpaper suggestions, I won't get into that because that's a real mess. The other thing I mentioned in the announcement was making a photo or an album to capture some pictures. And so what I'm going to do right now is try to demonstrate that. I just got back from Fort Lauderdale and Key West. It was 70 degrees, 75 degrees down there. And not that brag, but anyway, if I wanted to put some pictures that I've taken recently into an album, I'm going to select the pictures. So I'm going to tap here on select, and you notice it goes away. And then I'll go down here and I'm going to tap pictures that I want to put in an album. We rented a car, and I like to take pictures of the car when I return it, so there's no question that whether I did some damage to it. So I've got these 5 pictures marked, and then I'm going to hit the share button, which is right down here. Remember, that's the share button. And when I do that, I'll scroll up and I'll say add to an album. And then I can put it in whatever album that I want. If I put it into this practice one, if I tap on it, those pictures are going to jump into that folder. So now I'll go back and look at my albums. Oh, come here. And here's the folder, and you can see it has 5 pictures in it. So you can do that for any different events, Christmas, holidays, vacations, whatever, where you want to put your pictures into a particular album. Another thing about this, if you choose to make the album first, up here at the top of your screen, you can see where it says create. And if you tap on create, it'll give you an option of making folders or albums. And let's say folders go in albums, and that's complicated. So we won't be try to address that online. So any questions there about your Photos app?
Yes, Joe, I've got one. You mentioned shared albums. Have you ever explored shared libraries? My wife and I find them very useful.
Okay. I'm not with shared libraries. I'm not familiar with that.
Okay. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned it then. Sorry. It was
We
introduced a
can,
couple of versions back, I think. You can, I'll give you some background. My wife and I used to share an iCloud account and we'd use the same credentials on all our devices and we
Yeah.
could all see the same photos. For her to log out and use her own iCloud account, then she couldn't see the photos. Now you can set up a shared library that both iCloud accounts can see. So, for instance, if she's out at Costco taking pictures of price tags and things that she wants to remember, I'm not interested in that. And likewise, if I'm working on my car and trying to photograph serial numbers or part numbers, she's not interested in that either. But we can both put the photos we want each other to see into a shared album, and then they show up in both of our iCloud photo albums.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right, let's move on. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about is the rewrite function, which is an artificial intelligence function, and it's only available under iOS 18.1, and it can only be used on an iPhone 15 Pro or any of the iPhone 16s. So that's where that is. So what I'm going to do here is show you how this operates. I'm going to go to my settings. And once I open settings, I will scroll down to Apple Intelligence right here and tap on that. And if you've never done this before, it's going to say something like, wait to be approved. And so they have to do some verification of who you are and what you are. And it usually just takes a couple of minutes. But once you get that done, they'll notify you that you're ready to go. So now I've already done that, so I'm going to move on. And what I wanted to show you here is, again, the rewrite function. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go into my notes. And you can do this in your notes or your messages or your email. And the purpose of this, which is really kind of nice, I'm not a very good eloquent speaker. And when I write something down, it's pretty factual. Come to the meeting, period. And if someone else was writing, if Brookie is writing, she might say something. Oh, we're having a wonderful meeting next week, and we need all of you people to come, and we're going to have a wonderful time. So my mind doesn't work that way, and so mine are pretty just function. But I wanted to show you what AI does with Apple. They can take your text and they can represent it in 3 different formats. And I'll show you that right now. I'm going to go here to this one. 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth blah, blah, blah. Anyway, this, you're all familiar with the script. So the first thing I need to do is highlight it. And you notice the little dots there. You have to get those dots and navigate them or drag them so you get the whole thing. Okay, you notice the whole thing is highlighted now. And once that became highlighted, down on your screen here, right above the keyboard, is this little bitty icon. And that's your AI icon. So I'm going to tap on that. And it brings up this new screen. And you can do several things here. I'm not going to get into all of them. It'll proofread it, or it'll give you 3 different versions: friendly, professional, or concise. So let me scroll this back down here. And what I'm going to do first, wait a minute, I'm missing something. Where'd it go?
Can you do undo maybe? I think it cut part of it off.
It sure did. I don't. Okay.
Can you hit that undo?
What undo?
Go back to that message. I mean that note. Open that note, and then up there, there's an undo little
Oh,
thing next to notes.
I should know that. Bring this back up here. There. Now hit the icon. Well, this is usually not that much trouble. Okay, there we go. I'm going to hit the AI again. And now this time, you can see the verbiage here. This is the way it was written. And this gives you the option of making it what they perceive as more friendly. So I'm going to tap on friendly right down here and note the script. And it's thinking, and it rewrote it a long time ago, about 87 years, blah, blah, blah. So it wrote it in a different format, which they perceive as more friendly. I'm going to revert this back to the original. And this time I'm going to do it in a more professional way. It's thinking. So it rewrote it in that format. And if I want to try a different way, I can use concise. And you notice it shortened it considerably, but it's basically got the same information in there. So this is a really neat tool. You can start a message to somebody or an email and decide you want to enhance it or redefine the words. Then you can go highlight it and click on the little icon and give it the options that you would like it to do. I'm going to revert. Again, highlight it like I've got here, and then click on the icon. Get that back up here. Click on this little icon right here. It's kind of a red and blue. Click. And then go through these steps. And it does really a pretty nice job. Okay, that's all of mine unless there's some questions.
Any questions about this? All right. So the last part of our presentation is going to be about the Apple Maps flyover and guides. And this has been around for quite a while, but a lot of people don't know about it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and the Apple Maps app has a feature called Flyover and Guides, and it allows you to fly over more than 350 cities. Okay, it was actually introduced back in 2012, and what Apple calls it is the bird's eye view of favorite cities. So you can see my picture over here of the Eiffel Tower. That's a screenshot I took of the flyover of Paris. So you see that you can see it from a bird's eye view, and then there's some ways that you can manipulate it as well. I've put this presentation in the chat so you can download it, and then you will have access to some of these links. Here's a link right here that actually tells you what locations are that they actually have flyovers of. So I took a screenshot of that, and here's just a few of the ones where there's actual flyover tours. You'll notice that they actually have Louisville, Kentucky, but they don't have Venice. So I thought that was just really odd. But there's, I guess, some limitations to that. There's a couple of things that the flyover feature allows you to do. So when you go to one of those cities, you can actually change the perspective by dragging 2 fingers up and down on your screen. I'm actually showing you this on my iPhone because it's a little bit stronger. I've noticed that when I've zoomed on my iPad, sometimes the map kind of has a hard time operating, but it will look about the same on both of those screens. It'll be the same information, it just will be in a little bit different location. Okay. The other thing you can do, you can move around on the flyover, dragging your fingers to see different parts of the map. And then you can also rotate 2 fingers and rotate around something, but I will demonstrate all that. And that will be during the 3D tour. Okay, when you're watching this, you'll think, how did they do this? How did they do this model? And I have an article here that you can read about it, but basically they use planes equipped with multiple professional grade cameras. They fly over the cities at 1,600 feet, capturing images at various angles, including the sides of the structures, rooftops. And so you'll be able to see all of that. And the article said that number of cameras is a closely guarded secret. Apple actually bought this software company, C3s, and it was state of the art and actually was able to combine all these pictures. So it created this 3D city model. So, and you'll have this link that you can actually go and see more about it. Okay, so at this point in time, I'm going to actually go to my Apple Maps app here. Okay, Google won't work. So if you use Google and you've taken Apple Maps app off of your iPad or your iPhone, you're not going to have it. So you have to use this one right here. Okay, and when I open it, this is what it looks like. All right. And to start the flyover, you're going to go into the search maps and you're going to type in. So we're going to do London. And you'll notice I just started typing it. And you have London, Kentucky, and they do not have a flyover, but they also have here now London, England. So I will just tap London, England. And it takes you to London. And on this little panel right here, and your iPad, you'll have a panel also. I'm actually going to flip my phone around so that it is in the horizontal orientation. And you'll have this panel that you can choose flyover. So that's what we're going to talk about now, and you're going to actually see it. And so as soon as you tap it, you can move this panel down. You can actually tap your screen and you'll get rid of that information. And as it does the tour, you notice Tower of London here. It tells you the different tourist locations that you'll be seeing. And notice the detail of all the buildings and how it actually goes around. And we're going to head off to Buckingham Palace.
I could even do it on my iPhone SE.
Oh, okay. Yes. all of yes. This is available on all iPhones.
That's cool.
Yeah. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually pause the tour, because what I want to show you is that not only this, but you can actually manipulate this. So I mentioned initially that you can use one finger and you can actually drag it to different parts of the map. Okay, if you want to see what's on either side of what you're looking at. Okay, so you can do a lot. You also can expand it so that you can see more of the city, or you can zoom in by using two fingers and expanding your fingers. Okay, and let's say the tour actually is going to take you to the back of Buckingham Palace, but you can do that also with two fingers, just rotating your fingers. Of course, it's now not wanting to do it. All right. So you can rotate it. And then you can zoom in and zoom out. All right. So you can manipulate it as you're doing it. And then you can tap the screen again, bring up that panel, and you can resume the tour. And it doesn't last very long. Any questions about it while we're finishing this tour?
I don't see any people or cars
I know, I thought that was interesting too. So I don't know how they got rid of those.
or boats. Well, no, there are boats.
All right. So this would be kind of a really neat thing to do if you're planning on a trip, or maybe if you've already taken the trip and just seeing it from a different angle completely. So I'm going to pause it again. All right. And let's say we want to see it from the top. You can use your two fingers to actually drag down, and then you can see it from up above.
There's some cars.
Okay. So then, all right. So that is the flyover. Any questions about it? Okay. The next part is some information about the guides. So they have come up with some guides, and they actually haven't developed them, but they have partners that actually produce these guides for them. And they do say that they keep them updated. So you're getting very current information. And here are the cities that actually you can find the guides for. Several in North America, and then you've got Europe and you've got Australia. Okay, so these are the cities that you can find the guides for. And to find those guides, you actually will be in your Maps app. All right. And here's one. We were already in London, but let's go ahead and see what they have for Denver. You can add Denver, and then you can look up here. It will say guides. And you can tap on that, and then you can open this guide, or you can actually search by food and drink and things to do and travel. And they also have guides we love, and then the latest guides they have. So let's say we want to do food and drink, then these are different ones that they are spotlighting. And let's go ahead to 3 of the best pizza places in America. Actually, this has gone beyond Denver, but this is one of their guides. And then it shows actually the map of the pizza places that they are featuring. And then you can take your finger and slide up, and then they have the name of the place, they have the picture, and then they have a little description of the restaurant, and then you can actually find more. So they have these for the various cities also. So any questions about guides?
Cool.
Yes? Okay. All right. Well, then I will go ahead and stop sharing and see if we have any questions from anybody. Okay. All right. Next month, I haven't heard what Kurt or Joe is going to cover, but I'm going to show you how I tracked down my iPhone after the Christmas party at CKCS. When I got to my car, I went to get my phone and thought, oh no, I don't have my phone. So I went back inside and used my watch to try to find it, and it wasn't there, but I knew I'd had it there. So I was able to use my iPad and track it traveling down Georgetown Street. So I'm going to show you how to use your Find My app. It came in very handy for me. So Kurt and Joe, do you all decided what you're going to cover?
I think you need to explain that. Somebody at CKCS accidentally picked up her phone and thinking it was theirs.
It's suspenseful for next time. They would hear the rest of the story.
You got to brief me. Yeah, I got a couple of things I'm going to do next time. One is going to how to make custom app icons. You know, you got the different icons, and if your phone's like mine, you've got way too many icons, and some of them look alike. So it's going to show you how to make a custom icon. Maybe you wanted an icon for your maps or your pictures or whatever. So I'll show you how to make one so it'll be easier for you to find. That's part one. And part two, I'm going to show you how to take your phone and use it as a nighttime clock, alarm clock. And it'll set up there. It'll be just like you have a night radio there. Show you how to do that. Next.
Oh,
Cool.
Have you decided?
yeah, yes, and I'm trying to think of the name of it now. I'm going to be talking about a browser. Now, what is the name? Anyway, it's the most used browser in South America and Africa. And it's used all the time on the iPhone, the iPad, the Mac, Windows, and it's from Norway. And it's used quite a bit in Norway and Scandinavian countries. What sets it apart is that it comes with a built-in VPN built in it.
Does it start with a P? Does it start with a P?
What's the name of it?
It's either Pulse or
No.
Connor or I just read about it. Yeah.
Let me ask ChatGPT. I can't think of it. I used it for years, several years ago.
Ask your machine.
I think it's Pulsar. No.
No, let me see here. It's used.
Okay, as you look at that, Kurt, there was somebody 676224 had a question.
Opera. It's the Opera browser invented in Norway, and it had tabs first. It had ways to block pop-ups before any of the others did. It was way ahead of its time. It's still used primarily by people in South America and Africa. And one of the things that sets it apart, number of things, but it's got a built-in VPN, a virtual private network, built into the thing. So you don't have to buy one. You can turn it on before you actually use that browser. You open the browser, turn it on, and you're already there. So that's kind of neat. But everybody is so stapled or married to their browser they use, and there's some other options out there they might want to look into that are actually might be better for them. But
okay, so we will tune in next month for that.
Okay,
for sure. But it seemed like we had a question. Okay, maybe there wasn't a question.